right, everyone. Welcome back to Master of the Universe podcast. Joey here, along with CJK, motherfucker to the max, and the man beast, Gabe. We're here talking about Halloween H20, 20 beers later. So, before we get into that movie, we did up to part 6, me and Chris did. And, I'd love to hear what Gabe has to say about the franchise. Also, kind of us just talk about the franchise up until H20. So if you guys don't want to hear about all our fucking thoughts, we'll fast forward probably like 30 minutes or so. But Gabe, what's your whole thought on the overall franchise of Halloween? And we'll start from the first one. But is it like one of your favorite franchises, least favorite? How are you with the whole series? I'm very interested. And Chris is over there getting drunk, right, Chris?
Woo! Fuck yeah!
Yeah, Halloween is just one of those memorable classics. I mean, it's hard to, think about Halloween and dressing up or, thinking about monsters and stuff without thinking about Michael Myers. I mean, it's one of those things you kind of grow up with. Freddy Krueger, Jason. It's kind of hard to go without saying, you don't know Michael Myers. So, yeah, I like Halloween. Maybe not so much the whole franchise, maybe little bits and pieces here and there. Yeah. But it's definitely it's a fun watch. There, it's good. It puts me in the mood. I know it's Halloween. I know fall season's here when I start putting those things when I start putting those movies on.
Yeah, I always put on the original during Halloween time. It's like my go-to for all the films. Like I probably am more entertained with like part 3 than part 1, but part 1 just has that feel, so I always put that shit on. Anyway, let's go ahead and start talking about the films up until H20. But for me, like, I grew up loving the original. Like, just seeing the box, I was like, oh shit, as a kid in the VHS. And before watching the film, I just saw that knife turn into a jack-o'-lantern and just being like, oh shit. But what's your memories or just your overall thoughts on the original one, man?
On the original, I kind of got that whole creepy vibe from it. I loved the fall season out of it. It was the whole just like the whole fall season. Everyone, all the kids running up and down trick or treating. It's pretty neat. I like the whole scenery. It's like that whole aesthetics there. Mm-hmm. I love that.
John Carpenter, yeah.
Yeah, that whole scene there, it's great. And then, then as the story kind of has like a slow start, but I understand the build up on it. Then as it really starts getting into it, and then people actually start dying, then you're just like, you're kind of hooked because you're just like wondering, like, this guy's walking around kind of like a stiff, but he's going around killing people, and he's after his sister. So you're just kind of more curious, like, why is he pursuing the sister so much?
Yeah.
Like, why specifically her? You're trying to understand motives here, but after a while, you just kind of start forgetting about the motives, and you're just more curious about, like, whether the girl's going to end up surviving or not.
Well, yeah, the original, like, we didn't know she was the sister yet till part 2. They mentioned it. So I thought that the first one was really cool just because you don't know, like, you don't even see him too much. You just see, like, his body, but not his face for the most part. And then, then you just see him, like, stalking people, and that's freaky as fuck, That's what gets over with me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The part 2 was definitely my favorite, though.
Was it?
Yeah, it was, only for the fact that I don't have a fear of hospitals. It just has that creep kind of factor there for me, where I don't know, it's just like eerie and just kind of, it just makes me uncomfortable.
Hospitals have that because you know what it is? It's these long hallways with this, artificial light.
Especially the Halloween 2 hospital, it's all dark and no one's even fucking there.
Right, and then the fact that you see all this machinery and needles and shit, and you think of stuff being done to people's, prone
buttholes and shit. Yeah, fuck all that.
That's just like you kind of think torture chamber, and then there's this long hallways. Some of it's dark, and even when it's bright, it's like there's no natural daylight because it's like also internal. It's just like hospitals, are a perfect fucking horror set.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I think it just kind of, without even me really thinking about it, it probably digs into my little subconscious there, and it just kind of starts picking at me when every time I see like hospitals or anything that's really involved with hospitals. It's not like the whole creepy doll factor that I have like with Chucky, and walking around dolls and stuff like that. This is just like this would probably be like a second kind of creepiness for me. Is just like hospitals in general. It's just so eerie for me. So yeah, you're right. It's probably the long hallways, the darkness, in there. It's just, I don't know. There's something about it, but it made me enjoy, part 2 a little bit more.
But I liked part 2, but the thing is, and not to cut you off, Gabe, but I just want to say I like part 2 also. It's just the thing is, to me, looking back on it, part 2, it feels like a really long episode of a TV show as opposed to like a movie where there's various sequences and different sets and different areas and different things like that. And not that you also don't want to be too fucking all over the place either.
Right, right.
There's movies that are way too all over the place. It's like, okay, I can't follow this, or this is too chaotic. But it's just, it's very, and Joe said this when we did the Halloween 2, it's just so confined.
It really is. And I think one of the interesting things about this that I actually enjoyed, which is usually like when anytime we see the first one and then it's going off into part 2, all of a sudden it takes place years later, or it takes place, somewhere else. And this doesn't string along too far from that. This is just like it follows like right after that. It's all included in the same night. Period. Yeah, and it's just like you get to see the continuation of what is happening from there.
It was like Rocky 1 and 2, where it like connects. Yeah,
and it's so interesting. So I think. I mean, that's probably a little highlight that I actually like about that, about part 2. But again, like I said, watching Laurie Strode, kind of shuffling up and down the long hallways where she's grabbing onto things, just trying to hold herself up because she's all weak or whatever. And, it's just the whole chase in there. It's pretty neat. I didn't really agree with the ending too well. Just due to the fact that it was an explosion in the shots in the eyes, but
the ending was crazy.
And then, it was. It just blew up. It was a complete big explosion there. Shots in the eyes. You would think this guy is completely dead. He walks out of the fire. He's caught on fire. He falls. That's it. He's done. You would think that's it. Then it jumps into part 4 and like, oh, guess what? This guy's been comatose for the last 10 years. So then that's where it takes on a whole new headliner here. And so instead of Jamie Lee Curtis, now we got Jamie, who's that Danielle Harris. And honestly, she's like a big fan favorite. Like it's funny because there's a lot of people that love part 4 and part 5. And it usually for the fact that I usually end up hearing is just, Danielle Harris is a very pretty girl. She's a looker there. And not in that movie, I mean, as an adult now.
I was like, Gabe, we're going to have to edit this shit out. You know that, right?
Yeah, we're going to have to cut that.
Nowadays, she's like her and the other one you were with what's her name, Felissa, whatever her name is, Felissa Rose, right?
Felissa Rose.
Yeah, they're the over ass, chicks from the 80s, and these are from the late 80s, early 90s. Well, no, she's from the 80s, the Halloween 4 and 5.
Right.
Yeah, they're the chicks that like grew up and they were like really hot, dude. You know what I mean? You're like, God dang. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like they were the child stars from these popular classic horror films, and then, I mean, look at them now. Now they are lookers now. You're like, wow.
Chris is like, I don't know what they're talking about, babe. I don't know who these people are they're talking about. So. Yeah. What about part 3 before we get into 4 and 5? When we graze over those, are you a fan of 3? Because that's like you were saying, Michael's supposed to be dead because obviously part 2 they just kill the shit out of him, so they come up with 3, trying to make it to where it's a different kind of theme each year for Halloween. And Season of the Witch came out with over-ass Tom Atkins, right? That's his name. Yeah.
Gabe,
right. Yeah. Well, it's exactly like what you're saying, Joe. Is that pretty much that the whole Halloween franchise there? It was supposed to be different stories. It wasn't supposed to be just Michael Myers. Pretty much, it went on for 1, 2, and then that was it. They were supposed to call it quits. Let's try out something new, and they came out with the whole Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. That movie is such a badass. Like I just love. Not the fact that they were killing kids, but just it was an extreme sci-fi for me.
Yes.
It was just a great sci-fi film, and the whole idea of like these Roman stones, I guess that's what it was, right? With the alignment of the moon and all this, they synced up with part of the stones that anybody who was like had this stone, I guess like near them would end up dying. This company ended up making Halloween masks and embedded this pieces of that Roman stone into those masks and disguised it as like a little shamrock tag. So here it goes, everyone watches this commercial and it syncs up with it syncs up with the whole commercial and the whole witchcraft thing going on, and before you know it, they're all dying, falling over with snakes and bugs crawling out of their head, and man, that thing was awesome. I seen little little advertisements, like little merchandise and stuff like that, where they have Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Then you see the box cover for it, and I kid you not, I love the artwork. I love the whole idea of just like 3, these 3 masks, these 3 popular masks: a skull, a witch, and a pumpkin. Oh, those things are fantastic. I love those.
Oh yeah, no, I love the shit out of Season of the Witch because it's so like. When I first saw it, I was like, it was always one that I saw on the on the shelves to rent movies, and I never got it just because I knew I had heard, Season of the Witch doesn't have Michael Myers, so I just never wanted to pick it up because of that. And I was like, I want to see Michael Myers, and it wasn't until much later I was like, let me check this shit out. I was really like expecting a bad movie, and I put it on, and I was like, wow, this is really. And it was before I know I had watched. Tom Atkins and the other one, Night of the Creeps and shit like that, and I just like right away liked it. I was like, because you're trying to see what's going on. It's like a mystery suspense kind of thing. You're like, what the fuck is this all about? And it pays off really good. It's so like you said, the whole witchcraft thing, like where the guy from RoboCop's giving the speech, the fucking mayor from Munchkin Town or just whatever they like. He's all like, on Halloween and all that bullshit. He's there, and it's just really well done. So I've always really liked the fuck out of part 3. But then we go to part 4 and 5. I guess you could kind of do those together.
Yeah. And can I just give I forgot to give my. I'm sorry for cutting in. I gave my on 3. The first time I watched 3, I had just gotten out of work, and it was one of my. You'll go and laugh. It was one of my no carb days, and I was. And I started watching it as I was finishing up my exercise bike, my stationary bike workout. And I'm sitting here, and I'm expecting everything Halloween to be Michael Myers, and it's this alternate story that has a slow build-up. And I'm grouchy while I'm watching it. I'm like, that fuck sucked, and I'm just grouchy about the whole time. But then a few days later, on a Saturday, I watched it again. And I'm like, and it took me not being grouchy to sit there and watch it again and realize, hey, this is a really good movie. And like the concept of every Halloween is a different story, a different plot, different set of characters, different villain, all this stuff. That's actually a good concept. Because how many times can you keep resurrecting a supernatural villain, and you think he's dead, and he just keeps coming back one more time just so you can keep milking the character for more money at the box office? How many times can you keep doing that before you water down your original concept? But that was a good idea, and I thought that was like a great, pagan Celtic folklore and all that stuff. That was a really good idea.
How many times can a motherfucker eat buffalo quesadillas on a Thursday, dude? That's my question. Yeah, that whole witchcraft Celtic, shit. I loved it. I was like, man, this is cool. And then kind of like I wish they would have kept doing stuff like that. I don't know about y'all because except for part 6, what we'll get into, but after that they kind of get kind of cheesy as far as the next two, for me at least. But I want to hear, like I said, Gabe, tell me your thoughts on part 4 and 5. You mentioned Jamie coming, in the franchise, and she's a fan favorite. A lot of people like 4 more than 5, and there's a lot of shit about that. But you want to explain them, or just talk about how you like them and shit like that?
Yeah. Well, it's just like you said. For me, it did get a little cheesy. This is we're pretty much at this point because like the whole Halloween franchise, basically the way it goes is that this whole thing took like different routes. So depending on how you want to follow the story, you can go 1, 2, and then go into 4 and 5, and 4, 5, and 6. You can go into 1 and then go into the 2018 version. Mm-hmm. Then you can go into the Rob Zombies if you just want to ignore that whole thing. This whole Halloween franchise took like different paths, and as far as following this the way this goes is that it goes from 1, 2, then it jumps into 10 years later. Now it's following, like I said, it's following Jamie. It's Jamie, which is Danielle Harris, and she's like the new target. See, ever since part 2, he ended up getting shot in the eyes. He exploded, caught on fire, and he was pretty much out. He was out for 10 years. All of a sudden, he overhears like some the ambulance workers, people that work for the hospital. They were transferring his body. He's not dead. He's just comatose, and they're transferring his body to like another hospital. Well, they end up overhearing. They're talking about him, and they happened to talk about like any living relatives. At this point, they end up mentioning that Danielle Harris, Jamie, is the daughter of Laurie Strode. Apparently, she had died in a car accident. So now she's out of the picture. There goes Jamie Lee Curtis. She's done. Now they got a new target. So now he gets all pissed off, and now he's like, he wakes up, goes ahead and kills everybody, and now he wants to go ahead and, go after her. On the side story, though, Samuel Loomis, the psychiatrist that was from part 1 and part 2, he's been following this. He's been following Michael Myers the whole damn time. So now he's getting wind of it. He realizes there's something that happened to the body, and so now he's like on the hunt. Now he's trying to the and
then he runs into him in that podunk town gas station. God damn you, Michael.
Yeah, it's so off-putting in this damn movie, because this little girl, she's having nightmares of a man chasing her, but she doesn't know anything about this whole Michael Myers thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she sees all those visions. That's right. Yeah.
Right, and here Loomis is over here like he's trying to warn everybody like, hey, the boogeyman's coming back to town, back to Haddonfield, which is Danielle Harris happens to be at. She's staying with a foster family. She's not, with Laurie Strode. So she's staying with a foster family. She's having time. She's getting ready for Halloween. Michael Myers is on his way. How he ends up finding her, I'm not sure how. You end up finding out in part 5 that she has like a psychic link.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, so this whole thing is like like y'all said, it starts turning into like a paranormal kind of thing, like more of a psychic kind of deal. Anyways, it starts turning into a chase. All the friends in this movie end up getting killed one by one. Michael Myers is chasing after the little girl. There's not really much to explain without giving a whole lot on this movie, other than some of the highlights. Pretty much like the end of the movie. Michael Myers ends up catching up with Jamie, and you think like, okay, this is going to be it. You know the little girl ain't gonna die, but he's going to make that attempt. Sure enough, police officers, along with there's a whole town mob that's involved in part 4 that's on the hunt for Michael Myers. So they have the whole town backing him up. They got the police officers. They shoot Michael Myers down easily. Like, they just blast.
Isn't it kind of like funny
just...
that like on part 2, like they really like destroy him, only to bring him back and do it again in part 4?
No, I know. That's like just like it's how fucking greedy are you? Hungry are you for cheap, easy money? That like, I mean, you have to ruin the integrity of a story. It's like you can't destroy a man any worse than you did that. I mean, Jason Voorhees, like, and the same thing with Jason Voorhees. They destroy him and destroy him and destroy him. At least with Freddy, it's a lot more plausible because he's a being that doesn't really exist in the third dimension. He can enter the third dimension, but he's a fully on supernatural being. Whereas like Michael Myers and Freddy are tangible. Not Michael Myers and Freddy. Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees are like tangible, touchable, third dimensional beings. They just happen to have a little bit of a supernatural boost where they can come back. But it's like, how the fuck much can you destroy these people that they keep coming back for more movies?
Again, these guys are just like classic Halloween, and they'll go as far as like reboots or whatever they can just to bring these characters back to life because like you said, I mean they're money makers, and I'm not gonna lie. I mean, these people are gonna go ahead and they're gonna rip me off for a good $20 just to go to the movies to watch another Michael Myers film, even though it's like regardless of how cheesy the damn movie I know it's going to be, even just watching a trailer, but just knowing that they're bringing that classic Halloween character that I kind of grew up with, I'm going to go pay the damn bucks because I know this character. I know this character like inside and out. I watched his movies like many times over, not Halloween, but just sometimes for fun. There's just like something about that character. I guess it's just childhood nostalgia or something like that.
That's the thing. Watching these movies, whether it's the Nightmare on Elm Street, whether it's not so much Nightmare on Elm Street, but whether it's Mike Myers or Jason Voorhees, this thing is like you're gonna keep watching them, keep going back, keep seeing them because you've made an emotional character bond with these characters. But at the end of the day, it's like being a wrestling fan. It's like, the shit's fake. The matches are predetermined. The guys cooperating with each other. I mean, even if there is some real dislike in the locker room between the guys, they're not going to fight for real in the damn ring in front of the audience. Like,
where the hell? How the hell did we get to wrestling with fucking Michael Myers?
Well, no. I'm making an analogy here. Follow me.
I'm not following about that. They're gonna fight with guys in the backstage and they kill Michael Myers. I mean, where the?
But here's the point I'm making.
He's like, dude.
Jamie Lee Curtis is a fan of wrestling.
I'm sure she is. But you keep watching anyway because you have that nostalgia and you have that connection you made emotionally with the characters, and that's what this is here. It's like it's ridiculous that these people keep coming back from all these destructions, but you keep watching anyway because you want to see what's next.
Yeah, we're instead of saying like no, I'm not going to encourage it. Just the fact of me going to the movies and paying like $20 to watch the damn movie is, it's encouraging it's encouraging that character.
Gabe, you're an enabler.
I am really bad. So like I don't want to, but I'm telling you, man, if they were to really, like, they come out with it doesn't even matter if it's Halloween season, right there in the middle of August. I'm like, sure, I'm gonna go and watch it. I'm gonna encourage it. I'm going to. It's just he's not a bad character. It's just like you said, the damn storyline. They're just making a mess of it, and it's just terribly bad. But there is highlights. I'm gonna still watch it. It's bad.
And
I don't even think they did that great of a job explaining how Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' half-sister or whatever. I didn't even think they did a good job explaining that. They just blurted out in part 2 was okay. Well, I'm supposed to go with that.
Well, yeah, they're not gonna. They're just saying that they kept records. That's why he came back. But I mean, that was it. Laurie Strode was Michael Myers. So what else do you want to know? You want to know the whole? Wow, how did the parents get back to where they're
They don't show seances of the past or how it happened or give a logical.
Well, they do that in the Rob Zombie ones, and it doesn't make any difference if you know. Oh yeah, that is his sister. I think that's the. I mean, if you. For the most part, once you learn too much about any character, like a mysterious character, it's not going to be satisfying, because now you've humanized someone. Like in the first one where you're like, man, who's this psychopath? And then, that's his sister. And you're like, okay, well, let's see some flashbacks. I mean, that's not going to make him any scarier,
Yeah, it honestly, even though it's a horrible story, it's like drinking a warm beer. Like, it's terrible, but you're going to drink it anyways because, that's all you got. So you're like, sure, why not?
That's a damn good analogy, boy. I tell you what.
But
you're like, fuck it.
You guys are a lot more right-brained than me. Like, I'm a real left-brained guy. So, like, for me, I want logical consistency patterns and explain this to me, explain that to me. Like, I'm too like that. And then
any beer analogy, it's a good analogy. So.
And you guys are a lot more right brain, like accepting of like, fictional characters and stuff because it's like it's that genre. But like, I'm too left brain is what I'm saying.
I wish Mark can hear that, dude, so he can go ahead and get his ass over. But anyway, so part 5, dude. They had Rachel, survive, and then she dies right away. And then we get, is it Tina, or what's the other chick's name? The most annoying character in the world?
God, I forgot.
I think her name is Max. No, I think that was the dog, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I think it's Tina. It's Tina. I think it's Tina.
Is it Tina?
Yeah, Tina's Tina's the one, like the friend of Rachel, because Rachel dies, and then it's Tina.
Well, part 5. This is like where it starts kind of really. Now it's starting to jump into the whole paranormal thing, kind of like Jason, where it was just the psychopath running around, killing people, in honor of his mother, and then all of a sudden you find out he comes back to life, and you're starting to figure out like, oh, it's a curse. He can't really die. He's getting shot and all this stuff. And okay, the same thing is starting to happen with Michael Myers. Now, at this point, they in the beginning of part 5, all they do is just do a rerun of the ending of what happened on part 4, because you thought like he got shot, he fell down a mine shaft, and to finish him off, they said, let's go ahead and throw a stick of dynamite down there and let's blow his ass up for sure. That's it. We killed this son of a bitch. He's done. Well, then, guess what happens? It starts showing, like, the extended story to that, where basically he crawled out right before the dynamite ended up blowing him up. So he's crawling out, he starts stumbling, and then guess what happens? He comes across, he starts floating down the river that happens to be, like, right there, floats down the river. Bum he ends up wandering. He gets out of the water. He starts wandering, and then there's a bum, cooking dinner. All of a sudden, he sees Michael Myers, and Michael just kind of falls to the floor, and he's like, "Oh snap! Let me go ahead and try to help this guy. This guy's bleeding." Well, for a whole year later, it makes it look like he's just been lying there the whole time. I'm sure enough that he's gotten up at some point or another just to take a shit or something, but he's lying there.
I gotta take a shit, Ray.
Well, he's got to eat and shit at some point, right? And
so
the damn so then the bum, it's one whole year later. Now it's all Hallows Eve. Here all of a sudden Jamie, the little girl, Danielle Harris, she's mute. It must have been easy acting for her without having to have any words throughout this damn film. At least not till towards the end, anyways. She's mute because they said it was like childhood. Yeah, like child trauma or something like that. So she can't speak or whatever. She says a couple of words here and there, but it's all scratchy. You can't really understand her. But she has like this psychic link now. Guess what? He wakes up. Kills the bum that took care of him for a whole damn year. Now he's back on the hunt for Jamie again. Well, as the story starts going on forward, there's more chase. Dr. Loomis ends up having a heart attack, ends up, attacking Michael Myers. They set an ambush for Michael Myers. They capture him and they beat him down. Sam Loomis now is dead. He has a heart attack. He dies right there after trying to beat down Michael Myers with a 2x4. He just right on top of him. He just kind of tires out and just like, oh, okay, well that's it. I'm dead. Well, the police come. They arrest Michael Myers. Yeah, they arrest him, chain him down, throw him into a jail cell, tell Jamie, hey, even though everyone's dead, don't worry, everything is completely fine. We're gonna make sure he's locked up forever until he's dead. Oh no. Jamie's already kind of talking a little bit at this point, and she's all like, oh, he can't die. Well, sure enough, the cop is already getting ready to take her home. All of a sudden, there's an explosion, and they're like, "Oh shit!" In the police station, all the police are all running around. They're all freaking out, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. You hear gunshots. You see a shadowy figure,
and you see Johnny Cash walking out there.
Yeah, it's just, oh man, it's a mess. Jamie goes into the police station, goes to check. She sees all the police officers dead. She sees the jail cell that was holding Michael Myers empty. It ends off on a black. It blacks out, and she's all no, and she's.
Yes, I like that ending. It's all fucking dark.
It's dark. You don't know who the mysterious figure is.
Yeah, the Johnny Cash Man in Black mysterious figure.
You just drank. You thought you had more beer in your fridge, and you're just like getting drunk, and there's none. You're like, no.
I do like the analogies.
That's any warm beer, any beer analogies is a good analogy. Like Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, dude. After that crazy ass ending in part 5, like I really hated part 5. I hated Rachel and they're like running around into the barn and all that crap. I did like the scenery because like the Michael Myers house is way more over in part 5. And then 6, like they just completely, they take Jamie, but it's not the same actress anymore. She had, well, explain it, dude. Yeah, I mean, as best you can, without going into too much detail, because there is 2 different releases for The Curse of Michael Myers, right?
Yes, there is. As far as The Curse of Michael Myers, they had the theater version, which was terribly edited. Now, just to kind of make like a little tidbit on this, Sam Loomis, the guy who ends up playing Sam Loomis ended up dying. Yeah, Donald Pleasance. There you go. He ended up dying actually like 8 months before the release of this movie to theaters.
Not
so
dead.
That movie is dedicated.
Just very much retired.
Oh, I know, right? Paul Rudd is in this film too.
Yeah.
He was really young. And funny enough, he still looks the damn same.
He does.
He did not really age at all. But either way, the theater version was terribly edited. It got like a lot of bad reviews. Some people were saying that a lot of things in this movie did not make sense at all. But then they had like a director's cut. Later on, like years down the road, they ended up having like a director's cut, like special extended footage for some of this for the movie. So some of the stuff made a little bit of sense, but not enough to completely, I guess, save the movie. In my opinion, I thought it was a great movie. I love Michael Myers' mask, and just I kind of felt like this one, it was a little bit like it had like a dark, eerie kind of type of tone for this movie. So I really enjoyed this over 4 and 5. Honestly, I mean Danielle Harris is a great actress, but as far as this goes, I wasn't. I can do without 4 and 5. So as far as the curse goes, it continues on with. It starts off with not Danielle Harris, but Jamie, another actress, is like running down. She's running away from Michael Myers. So basically, what happened at this point with Michael disappearing and then Jamie, saying no, and it blacked out from part 5. Pretty much what happened is that she ended up getting impregnated. She had a baby. You can only assume the dark shadowy figure at this point ended up taking Michael Myers and taking, Jamie Lee, not Jamie Lee Curtis, taking Jamie, the character that ended up kidnapping them both. This cult, that dark shadowy figure with Johnny Cash, ended up taking them both. They kidnap them. Now all of a sudden it's a dark cult. So you realize that this is where the story's going now. Now it leads down to, I think it was like Native American blood. Now that they pick, because of the way the moons and everything aligns, that one family, one person or one family has to be extinguished. They go ahead and pick whatever family out, I guess, however way, and that they pick whatever person, and that person has to wipe out their whole family. So now they're leaving it down to like, okay, Michael Myers is the chosen one, that he's the one that's supposed to wipe out his family. Well, you end up finding out there's a baby involved, and that's Jamie's. Who's the dad? I'm only assuming that it's Michael, because they're trying to continue on with this curse.
Isn't that stupid? Like, he gets her pregnant just so he can like kill her, but he's trying to kill the bloodline. I'm like, what the fuck?
I think that wasn't. I don't think that was his doing. I think that was because this is already 6 years later now. This is the shadowy figure. The shadowy figure and his group, his secret cult, ended up doing this.
Johnny Cash.
I don't know what he did to get Michael to impregnate her, but whatever he did, they did something. She got pregnant. They had the baby. All of a sudden, the midwife that was there, she took the baby and gave it to Jamie and said, hey, run, take off. So she runs. Here comes Michael, like right behind him, ends up killing the midwife, chasing after her. Jamie finally dies. They kill Jamie off. So now he's getting ready to go ahead and kill the baby, but the baby's missing. Well, a little earlier in that whole scenario, while she was running from Michael, she ends up making a phone call. Paul Rudd is actually making. He's supposedly playing one of the children from the original part 1 that Laurie Strode was babysitting. So now he has this big fascination that, there's something with Michael Myers. So he became Michael Myers obsessed ever since then. So he has his own little talk show radio. So anyways, however, I think Jamie ended up hearing this on the radio, and she ends up calling that number, tells Paul Rudd, hey, come and get this baby. I need your help. Michael's after me. He took it as a joke. She ends up dying. The baby's hidden in this train station, or some kind of station or bus stop or something. Bus stop station, I think. And then here comes, Michael's like going around looking for this baby, but Paul Rudd is like, you know what? Maybe she was actually telling the truth. He listens to the background of that recording that he got up from that lady, which is Jamie. He ends up hearing like a bus stop announcements and stuff. So he's all like, oh, okay, I think I know where this is at. Let me go ahead and go over here. He goes and investigates, and he ends up finding the baby. Well, before you know it, it's not even too long. Michael Myers is after him. He's after, some other people, and like Paul Rudd's girlfriend or love interest, I guess, in the movie. They're all chasing after it. Sam Loomis, is still alive in this movie, and he's trying. he's still obsessed with Michael. He's still obsessed, like thinking like the horror is not over. Well, anyway, as they end up, Paul Rudd finds him. They all start making a plan, trying to bring down Michael Myers. But then you find out it's the cult. So now all of a sudden the cult gets involved. They start threatening Sam Loomis. Then you find out the mysterious Johnny Cash figure that ended up helping Michael Myers and that formed this whole cult. He was like the lead doctor or the lead head psychiatrist for that original Haddonfield psych ward that Michael had spent 15 years as a kid. He's the one, and actually I think that was Dr. Loomis's boss.
That's
so
right.
Anyway, so then he goes ahead and explains to Loomis, saying, "Hey, I formed this cult. This is what's been going on. You were there since the beginning. How would you like to join us? You can really investigate Michael. You can be part of our cult." And Loomis is like, no. I'm all about the good side. Let's go ahead and just kill Michael off once and for all. That's it. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. We're going to kick your ass. We're going to hold you hostage. We got the baby. We got everybody. That's it. We're just going to, all we need is Michael. They get a hold of Michael. Here comes Michael. He ends up turning things around. He ends up killing the whole cult. He kills everybody and leave it to Paul Rudd, the love interest, the baby. There's a little kid involved, and then there's Sam Loomis. They all join forces. They bring down Michael. They beat the shit out of him. There's green shit coming out of Michael's face, which is weird. Again, like, this is one of those question things, like, isn't it supposed to be blood? He's not supernatural. He's just part of a cult. Why is green stuff coming out of him? Anyways, they beat the crap out of him. They said it's over. Sam Loomis stays behind and says, "Hey, I'm going to make sure this is done once and for all the way it should have been done since the beginning." "Oh, okay, we're going to go ahead and take off now. We'll leave it to you." "Okay, cool." All of a sudden it comes back and it close up on Michael Myers' mask, and then guess what happens? You hear Sam Loomis screaming for his life. So you can only assume, they didn't do a good job of killing him. So there goes Michael, and then it just kind of ends off from there. Now we're going to jump into H20. Whether if you want to say that it leads off to that or not, I mean, in H20, they just end up saying that she faked her death. She has a whole new identity. Laurie Strode has been alive, and she has a son that she kept. So I kind of doubt that she would give up the daughter and then go ahead and have a son. But anyways, this is how we're getting into H20 now.
We finally made it, Chris. After, remember, me and Chris were fucking. We were trying to run wild through the Halloween series, and we just kind of like burnt out. We actually did the H20 review, but it didn't record right, for whatever reason. And I was like, Chris.
Fuck you, MOTU.
Yeah, I was like, Chris, kind of like the light bill or the U-Haul. I was like, we could either redo H20 or say fuck the Halloween series and come back to it later.
And here's the thing. I remember that H20 podcast we did. We were flowing good on that, but the thing is just, at the same time, as good as we did on that, I'm glad we got G Money here to help us out.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I remember it was actually one of our shorter reviews too, though. It was only like 20 minutes because we were like, well, H20, we don't like it. It's like,
and that's the thing is like when I take a step back months after the fact, and I watched it again in isolation, not having seen 7 straight Halloween movies, I appreciate it more.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll start off.
It's funny, man. Like,
go ahead, man.
Yeah. Like, I kid you not, H20, man. I saw that in movie theaters, and as terrible as the movie was, I remember watching it, and it was terrible. It was just like, oh man, this. 4 and 5 weren't that great for me. Part 6 was pretty badass, and then here I go ahead and watch H2O. I'm like, oh man, this is not going good. I'm not really caring for this.
Yeah.
But then I rewatched it, and then I was like, you know what, this is a bad movie. But man, there are some damn good highlights to this damn movie. I love it.
Yeah.
I was like, it's like a good bad, like
exactly
Sharknado or something.
Yeah, I was kind of like, most of the films that we do, I'm always looking forward to watching it because I like horror movies, obviously. But this is one of those where I was like, man, I'm not really looking forward to watching this because it's kind of like, just everything about it, like you said, is bad, except for a few parts. And I guess I'll talk about what I did like about the film, dude. For me, the best parts on this film, as funny and as like generic as it is the beginning of the film and the end of the film. Like I love the way it starts off with that whole Michael's killing the nurse from the first one. Like I love that opening scene because it sets the tone. They don't continually follow that same tone because after that it's all jump scares for like 90% of the fucking movie, and I can't stand that shit. I don't like the acting in it, but that beginning they did it so badass. Like where he's like you have legitimate fear for Michael Myers. Then of course the most how many times are they gonna like kill Michael to where you're he's fucking dead? They had like the best. If he died 30 times before, he's really fucking dead now with that ending. But that's how I feel about this one, yeah.
That's what I was saying earlier. It's like, I mean, you got to get, when it's fiction, you got to get your audience to be able to suspend disbelief. And it's like, the thing is, like, how many times has this guy been blown to the bits and he keeps coming back? Like, what else do we have to do to fucking kill him off once and for all? It's just because you're trying to get more revenue off of a fucking new movie. Okay. And this movie here, this fucking H2O, budget of $17 million, which even in 1998 wasn't that high. But they made $75 million.
17 million for a horror movie is a lot of money back in the 90s, man. Because, I mean, I know when you're talking about big picture, but for a horror movie getting that much, and I was, like, checking out, like, when they did this, they were, like, trying to say, oh, we're going to continue the Cult of Thorns story. And then they were like, well, no, we want to do something different. And then it was going to be different. And then they were like, oh, well, because it's going to be 20 years, we got Jamie Lee Curtis involved. So all of a sudden the budget went up because they had her. And they were going to get John Carpenter back, but he wanted $10 million to direct. And they were like, nope, not doing that. They did the old Karam, dude. That's my money.
Even if you don't have John Carpenter, this is a good film. Like, I was negative on it at the time because I was jaded by so many others, but like now that I'm watching it in isolation, it's not a bad film. So let's say you add and you make it 27 million instead of 17 million. If you make 72 million of it, that's like a 250% return.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of shitty movies that make good money. The thing was that people went to go see it because Jamie Lee Curtis is back. I mean, that's gonna put asses in seats because Halloween's like a revered ass fucking movie, and when you're gonna bring back an original character like that, hell yeah, it's gonna get people to go, even though if it's bad or not. For me, H2O, I mean, I prefer The Curse of Michael Myers over H2O. This H2O might be better than 4. It's kind of like back and forth for me. They're like look at Michael Myers' hair and his eyes, and he just looks like a jackass, dude. In this,
they fucked him up on the eye part of the mask.
I can't take him serious at all in this film.
They fucked him up on the mask. The eyes are too exposed. I hate that.
And then it's almost comical, like when they're like beating he's getting his ass kicked like the whole end of the movie. Like if you see like the last 30 minutes, everyone's like Josh Hartnett's girlfriend's like beating him up with like a shovel or whatever the fuck it is, and it's like a cartoon. I'm like, where's Michael Myers killing people, running up to them, doing like he does like that one scene with like that what's that little gimmick called something waiter.
A dumb waiter?
Dumb waiter, yeah. That fucking, I should have known that, dumbass. So, yeah, the dumb waiter ankle kill, like, that was cool, but then, like, after that, he's, like, chasing, like Michael Myers can't kill Jamie Lee Curtis's, son and girlfriend, and it just seems kind of like Looney Tune-ish, like a Freddy's Dead kind of shit, where Michael's chasing him through the whole school, no one's seeing him yell, no one's hearing nothing. I mean, I understand, there's no one there, but it's like, How shitty is this fucking LL Cool J, security guard, or there's no there's nothing, it's just.
I want to hear what lines you fell for. The same line you fell for.
It's just fucking. I don't think it's a good movie at all. It's fun. Hilarious. It's fun, fun in a bad way. Like I was laughing too when I put it on. Like I said, the intro got me going. Jamie's, or Jamie Lee Curtis, she's got like a different name in this thing. It's not Laurie Strode, but she's like screaming.
Carrie Tate.
Yeah, Carrie Tate. And she's screaming. She's having the flashbacks that Michael Myers is back. And I'm like, okay, pretty cool. And then all of a sudden, like Josh Hartnett doesn't comb his hair the whole time and shit like that. But they run into each other on the street or whatever. And she's like, oh, really, John? You be responsible, John. I'm like, what kind of shitty ass character did they turn Jamie Lee Curtis into?
That's what my wife said. That's the same thing. Like the John thing. Like you're doing it. She was laughing at it. It's like John.
Yeah, it's like I was like, we're supposed to like this character. You're like, what the fuck? Did they do to her? Like it's just I don't like any of that acting. It's just like a nagger, dude. Just nagging the whole time.
And here's the okay. Don't say that because you're gonna end up on a South Park episode with Kramer. But thank you. You got that. Okay, but here's the thing. Do you know that Jamie Lee Curtis is only 38 when they filmed this?
Did I know that? No, I mean, I knew she was close to 40, but I wasn't going to say 38.
She looks 48 here, but she's only 38.
Okay, yeah. I'm not going to trash Jamie Lee Curtis, Chris.
Oh, I'm not either. I'm just saying, like...
She looks 48. I'm not trashing her, but, I mean...
In the 80s and 90s, people age more than we do today.
Okay, scientist Carol. I thought Jamie Lee Curtis was fine as hell in True Lies. I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't say she wasn't fine. I'm saying like she looks above age 38.
And I kid you not. Like the girl I always thought was pretty was Nancy Loomis. She was
I think I see another Nancy.
Nancy Loomis.
Yeah, another Nancy. Yeah, the
Nancy nurse.
Loomis. No.
Oh, from Psycho?
No. She from part one. Halloween. She was the one without the pants that she was talking on the phone to Laurie Strode. She had no pants. She was all in her panties. You remember that? She had like the big puffy hair. And she was like
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I just didn't know that was her real name and shit.
Oh well, actually, that's like her. It's like her theater name, I guess. If that's why her movie actress name.
It's her working name, dude.
Yeah, there you go. It's her working name. I actually got to meet her, and of course, she's older and everything. But at that time, I was like, man, she was real pretty. I preferred her over Jamie Lee Curtis. I never cared for. I never really saw Jamie Lee Curtis as like a hottie or anything like that. Like she was hot in The Fog. But I mean, she wasn't. Sigourney Weaver was like more for me. I felt Sigourney Weaver was more hot.
Oh, Sigourney Weaver was awesome in the 90s.
Yeah. It just more so than Jamie Lee Curtis. But,
yeah, her name was Annie. Her name is Annie in the first one. Yeah, I think me and Chris talked about that. I was saying that Annie, she's like, I was like, man, she's fine. She's the one that that's not the slut. So yeah, I thought Annie was the shit. I was like, man, that chick's really pretty. So I agree with you. But yeah, her name's Nancy Keys, but she goes off of Nancy Loomis, dude, aka Nancy Mata. I don't know why there's so many Nancys.
Nancy's a popular name.
Nancy Thompson, Nightmare on Elm Street. Hello. So, it's she was over on that first one, dude. For sure.
Yeah, I kid you not. Like H2O had like such, 90s vibes. It was, like I said, when I saw it for the first time, it wasn't that great. I was kind of disappointed about it. But watching it, I was just like, I still remember, even like before I rewatched it, there was like some good highlights. When like one of the highlights for me was Michael Myers. Laurie is like walking around the whole damn place. She's walking down the long hallway, looking for Michael, and then here Michael lets himself down with one hand, like a badass. He's just like letting himself down. He's all like, I'm just right behind you. Oh yeah, he's just like, man, it was just, I don't know, that one scene. It was pretty good. His whole look, his mask was ridiculous. It was silly. What's his name was in it, and I enjoyed that too. What's his name? Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh yeah, in the beginning, yeah. His name's like Timmy or something.
Yeah,
Jimmy.
I mean, he had like whole. Yeah. Oh man, it was crazy just seeing how young he was. I was all thinking of Looper, like how he's trying to imitate what's his name? Bruce
Willis, yeah.
Bruce Willis, there you go. And now it's like, oh man, that's such a huge difference, like from what he looked like in the beginning of that movie up until now. I was like, he was so young. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I was like, I was really enjoying that. Just like some of these actors and stuff like that, just kind of looking back. Josh Hartnett, Hartnett, right?
Yeah, Hartnett, yeah. He was real famous in the 90s and early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah, he was. He was great in The Faculty, though.
Yeah.
And I loved him. I mostly loved him for that movie. And he came out in this one where he plays the son of Laurie Strode in this movie. And I thought it was so funny. I was like, look at that. He's still rocking that messy hairdo. I guess that was like his thing, his shtick there. I was like, oh, good for him, I guess.
He got he's his own due. Yeah, he did The Faculty right before H2O, and then what got me into him, or like the first time I saw his films was 40 First Dates, like in 2002 or 3ish. But since then he hasn't done too much shit. But yeah, in that late 90s, early 2000s, he was coming out in a lot of shit. But you would expect to see him, just like I guess with The Faculty, you would expect to see him in a horror movie, not done well, with kind of like weird acting, where it's kind of generic. I thought The Faculty was the shit. I can't wait to do that one. So I know Chris will freak out on that.
Oh yeah. That was a
50 First Dates. Me and the wife watched that last night.
It was 40 Days and 40 Nights, Chris.
Oh.
You're about 10 numbers off, son.
2 dates, 1 night. That's it.
Check out 40 Days and 40 Nights, Chris, with Josh. It's pretty good. Or that's a fun movie, dude. It's not a horror movie. It's just you'll see what it's about. Chris starts winking at Rose. I guess we'll see what it's about, babe. So anyway, dude, let's well, anything else y'all want to say about H2O? I mean, I guess we're kind of like in that boat where, yeah, I mean, it's one of those films that, it's not as bad as Part 5, but it's not it's not that great,
I mean, as far as like, more or less like what the story is about, the way I was, understanding it was, I kid you not. Well, first, just to mention about the title, because it's Halloween H2O. The whole freaking time, I always thought it was Halloween 2000. I was like, oh, look, this is the breaking of the 2000s. It's coming into the new era, the end of the 90s. All right, good for them. I was like, yeah, this is like the breakthrough movie, So then I was kind of like reading on it, and I was like, released in 1998. Why is it saying 2000? Oh, wait a minute. This is not 2000. What is this? Oh, man. Duh. This is Halloween for H20 for 20 years. Halloween, 20 for 20 years. Oh man, I was so disappointed in myself. The whole time I was thinking it was like 2000, but damn movie came out in 98.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing that it was a 2000 film. I guess because it's H2O, like you said. But yeah, it was from 90. I remember it actually coming out and like being like, oh, Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back. I thought it was cool, and I don't think I saw it in theaters, but I remember renting it like when it was a new film, because I was still kind of young during that time to where I wouldn't be like, oh, I gotta go see that in theaters. I think I was more into wrestling too during this time, so it wasn't on my oh, I have to go see a horror movie. It's like, no, I'm too busy watching wrestling and shit like that. But the timelines you had touched upon on the other films to where I mean. This follows 1, 2, and then this one. So it's 1, 2, H2O. 3 is like a standalone. Or if you do like the other timeline, it's 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and then that's it. So they have so many different, which I think it's pretty cool. You kind of like choose whatever you want to kind of go with, as your own.
Like, yeah, exactly. Shit. Like, what's your favorite? So, yeah, you're right. So you can either go 1, 2, you can go 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, or you can go 1, 2, H2O, and then Resurrection with Busta Rhymes in it, or you can just,
or the newest one, just go 1,
and then the 2018 movie,
yeah,
or you can just ignore the whole franchise overall and just go straight into Rob Zombie's version, which is just 1 and 2, and you can just go that route. I mean, you kind of pick. I like the fact, like you said, you can go whatever route you want. You can go paranormal. You can go. He's just psychotic. Either way, he's still alive, and he's still. I think all this was mere by accident, but I would have loved it if this was all on purpose. That they planned to make all these different versions, so that way you can choose whichever way you like. I do know there is a lot of people that choose 1, 2, 4, and 5. Just again, Danielle Harris is just a fan favorite. Everyone loves her. She's just a classic. And but still, and even then, just to kind of touch base with Danielle Harris, she even she didn't reprise her role, but she did end up coming up in the Halloween Rob Zombie films too. She ends up playing one of the friends. And so she actually still comes up in the Halloween movies. She's known for some other things too, but I think everybody kind of really more so knows her from the Halloween stuff, though. Yeah. I mean, there's not really much to tell as far as the story. Laurie Strode faked her death. She had a kid, and they're living in California now, and they're in a private boarding house to where they can keep off the grid, keep away from everybody, just to make sure in case, Michael Myers comes back. Now, apparently, during that 20-year gap, I was wondering, I was like, what in the world was Michael doing that whole time? If he did 1 and 2, what was he doing during that whole time? Apparently, there's Chaos Comics made a side series to where he actually started, he was on the hunt for Laurie Strode, but I guess this is his little side missions, his little side story of trying to get to her. So apparently he was causing murder and causing mayhem in those comics. I haven't read those, but I did see some of the artwork though, and I thought it was pretty neat. It definitely fits the whole 90s type of vibe, like that style. But then again, just like I said, jumping back into the story, it doesn't really go much. Laurie Strode wants to go ahead and have it out 1-on-1, try to finish Michael Myers off. She goes ahead
and not in a good way, doing the jack off motion.
Oh, I know that. Well, their family, they're not trying to keep it in the family, I guess. And so she actually ends up winning. She's about to finish the guy off permanently, like saying, "This is it." Pretty much, H2O has the same sense of story that the Halloween 2018 version does. Pretty much, she's living in paranoia, and she's getting ready for when Michael Myers, in case he ends up finding her. But 2018 did it. They did it better. I don't know. They had a better budget. I don't know, better actors. But as far as H2O goes, she finally wins. She's going to finish him off. LL Cool J, who you thought was dead, back to life, and he stops her at the last moment saying, "It's over, it's over." And she's like, no, I got to finish him. Oh, she's all upset and everything. Police get there, ambulance, everything happens. Sure enough, they're taking his body out. He's dead. She hijacks the van with his body in the coroner's van with the dead body inside. She's permanently going to go and finish him off. He wakes up. They struggle. They end up going off a cliff. Van rolls over. Ends up trapping Michael underneath the van, and he's like reaching out for help. Laurie Strode's like, oh, she's so sad and crying. She wants to reach out to him. Last minute, gotcha, bitch. She pulls out a damn axe, cuts his head off. Boom, that's it. You think it's over? They come out with Resurrection, and it's not over. Busta Rhymes comes in on it, and he starts doing some karate shit in there. So yeah.
That one's gonna be a trip. That one's gonna be a trip to review because I haven't seen that movie in full and fucking forever because I saw it like 2 or 3 times as a kid and I was like, fuck this movie. So
just to give a highlight, the best part out of Resurrection
Trick
was
or treat, motherfucker.
Oh man, yeah, I know, right? Doesn't he do like a jump kick or something like that?
Yeah, he's doing kung fu and shit.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
What was really neat about that movie though, is because it was during the time when a lot of those first person view kind of movies were coming out. Kind of like Blair
Witch, yeah,
Blair
found
Witch,
footage kind of shit,
Paranormal
right?
Activity, all those camera type of views, and that's pretty much what that movie portrays. It's the popularity at that time. That's what was hot. Everybody was doing it. Why not Halloween? So they did that. It was pretty fun. It was neat to watch. But again, we'll get into that later on. But yeah, that's H2O. There's not really much. It's 2018. Walmart version. It's not that great. There's some cheesy moments. It's the 90s. What do you expect? So have fun with it. I know I did. I was laughing at a lot of little parts that were just overly exaggerated and just flat out silly. But
well, me and Joey popped for Adam Arkin, who's was a character in season 2 of a show we liked.
Sons of Anarchy. Isn't he like the counselor in this film or something? That the guy that's all making out with Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yes, he's like the main principal of this fucking boarding school in Northern California that Carrie Tate.
I thought she was like the headmaster or whatever the fuck.
Headmistress, but he's even above her.
Oh, okay.
But they have a little fling going, and then she must really fucking love him because like imagine if you're in a witness protection program knowing you could get fucking killed by somebody, and you reveal to somebody you like who you really are and what happened, and she just fucking bursts out to this guy in the heat of the moment.
Did she tell him about it? I remember that she was gonna tell him when they're at a restaurant, and then like, of course, like there's a jump scare before she's able to tell him about like her real past, and the whole movie is just a jump scare here. Like when Jimmy goes and checks, the inside of the house for the nurse, the little iron board falls out. The whole fucking movie is jump scare after jump scare after jump scare after. I'm like, okay, I get it already. I get it. This is a horror movie. All right, fucking ridiculous movie, dude.
You know, it was pretty neat that I was looking over like a lot of the actors, and you know what was really neat was remember the friend. Remember when they were all together, and there was the little nerdy guy that ended up getting killed. I think
Charles.
Right? Was it Charles?
That's his name.
Yeah,
Charles.
Charlie. Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie. You know what was funny about him though? He was the little boy in Jumanji. If y'all ever remember that, he was remember the two little kids that were playing Jumanji in the original one. He was the little boy, and I was like, no shit. Honestly, I was confusing him with another actor because he kept looking so familiar with to me, and I couldn't put my finger on it. But yeah, I looked him up and I was like, oh shit, that's fucking Jumanji. The little boy ended up doing Halloween now. I was like, he didn't really do too many films, but just the highlight that he did, he auditioned and ended up getting Halloween H20 with Jamie Lee Curtis in there. It was pretty neat for me. I thought it was funny as shit.
Yeah, no shit. He kind of grew up quick if he was in Jumanji, because this only came out a few years later. Like the difference in age, like, well, I guess when you're like 13 or 14, like going from that age to like 17, it's like a big difference in how you look and shit. So now I'm looking at him like,
Jumanji came out in 1995, and then the H2O came out in 1998.
Yeah.
So that was he still looks young, but it was still interesting just to see, that character or that actor go on to, something like a horror movie. So I thought that was neat as shit. I got excited about it. I was like, yeah, shit.
I got excited about it.
I did. It's fun. It's like watching those Tales from the Crypt. Like while we were talking about that, you watch these old Tales from the Crypt episodes, but you see a lot of these more popular actors and actresses, like big time stars, and they're all like, I don't know if this is their debut shot on TV or something, but man, you see them like so young or starting out, and they're on a television series like Tales from the Crypt. Brad Dourif was so young, and like there's just so many big actresses. I even saw I forgot the name of the episode, but the mom from Back to the Future.
Yeah, Leah Thompson.
Caroline Thompson.
Leah.
Yeah, she was in there too, and I was like, no shit. I was like, oh god damn it, this is fucking exciting.
Joey had us watch that episode at his house one time. Leah Thompson.
Yeah, Leah Thompson. She came out on that.
Leah Thompson,
Only Sin Deep. Yeah, the second or it was like the third or fourth episode. It was a fourth episode. Yeah, fourth. Yeah, it's a fourth, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't remember it, but man, I thought that was awesome. There's just so many big actors and actresses. It's just the interesting part to me. It's not just so much that they did it. It's just you're seeing the crossover from like they're doing big action movies or something they're only known for. Right. But then you go back and you find them in these small little tidbit shows that probably don't mean much to anybody or well forgotten.
Gabe, you remember that Nickelodeon show 15?
Nickelodeon 15?
It was when we were in third grade. There was that show 15.
There goes the old grade. He's like, I'll tell you about what grade I was in first.
Yeah, we were in third grade, and it was a huge show, and it went on for 4 seasons, so probably all the way when we were fifth grade. But third grade for sure.
Man, I can name a lot of damn Nickelodeon shows, but 15 is definitely
15. It was like a teen soap.
If it wasn't over, dude, Chris loved it, dude. Chris is the one that likes those.
No, but do you know, Gabe? Do you know who was on that show as a main character for 3 seasons?
Well, no. If he doesn't know the show, Chris, how the fuck's he gonna know the main character?
Ryan Reynolds played Billy for 3 seasons on that show.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, I did find out. It's already been a while already, but did you all ever see the show Ghost Rider?
Yes, I remember that.
I'm not talking. Yeah, it's not the Marvel
show,
character.
91, 92.
Guess who was in the first damn pilot episode?
Who?
Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh shit!
I freaked. I could not believe that. Me and the wife were like so close. I kid you not. The monitor was practically on our face. We were like, that can't be him. No way. Nope, that shit was him, man. On PBS, it was like Channel 10 for me or whatever.
Yeah,
but PBS, yeah, that damn show was about some ghosts that I guess there was some kind of trouble, and he encouraged the way he would communicate to these kids. It was a group of kids like Stranger Things. He would communicate them by writing something. But he can only, I guess, say so much. So you spent the whole episode trying to deduct yourself, a learning experience, trying to be a detective, trying to figure out who did the bad thing.
Yeah.
Well, I kid you not, man. I saw the pilot episode. It was so funny. Samuel L. Jackson pops out of there. It was
Gabe,
crazy.
I used to watch that show every Sunday when I was in 4th grade, yeah.
I kid you not. I had a little notebook trying to figure shit out. I never figured shit out, man. It was terrible.
I never figured shit out.
There was an episode of that show where there was a joking segment, and they said, "What do you call insects mixed with a rabbit?" Bugs Bunny.
Wonderful.
Bugs Bunny. I was like,
yeah. I remember Ghost Rider.
The hamster in my head right now was like barely turning. It was barely turning. I was like, what do you? What's Bugs Bunny have to do with bugs and rabbits? I like that.
Chris, I was in 4th grade when that joke came out. It's pretty good.
Still carries it to this day.
Gabe, did you watch that Carmen Sandiego show?
Yes, I did. I had to watch the Carmen Sandiego.
I watched it too, Chris. How come I don't get a fucking clap?
Well,
tell you what, Joey.
Me and Gabe were in 3rd grade when that show was big. I didn't think you would be watching that when you were like 4.
Well, I was one of those wise to the business, Chris. So.
Yeah, how about this, Joey? You ever remember the TV show Salute Your Shorts?
Yeah, I remember that show. Yeah, I remember. Dude,
we hold you in our hearts.
I loved all those those early 90s shows, and even like when I was like you're saying like 4. Like a lot of those shows, they would be put certain ones, not a lot of them, but like some shows they would be put on a VHS, and then you can go rent it at the rental place. And I would get those, and I'd be like, what the fuck's this? Like Denver the Last Dinosaur. I never saw that shit on TV. I saw it because I would rent that shit, at the store. I was like, what the fuck is this Denver the Last Dinosaur? And why does he fucking look wasted?
Oh, I kid you not. Like Joey's absolutely right about that. Like you don't even have to like be born in that era to say like, oh man, I never seen it. Like no, they put that shit like on VHS. They had it on reruns. Even like there was some shows that I used to watch that that don't even appear anymore. And it's funny like how some of these things are keeping it relevant, and some of these shows are just being, kind of forgotten. Like, again, like, remember the whole conversation, like, we were talking about, like, the Munsters. The Munsters is coming back out again, but now Rob Zombie is going to be doing the film. So a lot of people were kind of upset because they're all, oh, he's not going to keep it like the old classic. It's not going to be funny. And you got the newer version is going to be totally messed up. He's going to ruin everything. Honestly, reboots, reshoots, retakes, any of that kind of stuff, it's actually great. Mm-hmm. The only reason why, because it's keeping this stuff relevant.
Exactly.
For people that want to, like, hey, I saw this movie. I never seen the original, but seeing it sucks. But now it's actually made me think, like, why would they remake it? I got to go back and watch the original. So here they go running to YouTube. They run to people with DVDs, any kind of source of information that they can get from this old TV shows just so that they can watch this shit. And I grew up out of, like, I used to watch a lot of old shit only because of my parents. They love all that stuff. Sadly, like, I used to watch a lot of wrestling, and I'm saying wrestling because we were making a lot of references towards it earlier, but I loved wrestling, I loved Doink. I loved Raven was my guy, man. He was a badass.
Fuck yes.
You know, Ultimate Warrior was cool. I loved all that shit, but honestly, I had to watch it like certain time. I had to keep the noise down. The reason why is because my parents, like, I kid you not, like Chris, you know, Chris didn't watch certain things, and I guess this would be considered one of those bad things for me. My parents didn't. They'll let me watch horror movies, but they did not like the fact about wrestling. And my man he hated wrestling. He did not like WWF, WCW, any of that. And of course, you can only figure out the reason why. You know, that the reason why he hated it, and my mom, they didn't like it because they considered it, you know, guy on guy doing stuff, and they didn't want to, I don't know, give me ideas or who knows what. But regardless, they didn't like me. You know, they said, fine, you can watch it, you keep it to yourself, you watch it in the back room by yourself, we don't want to hear a peep out of you. I'm like, all right. So I couldn't watch that stuff. But which is weird, because they'll be like, hey, you all are gonna probably think this is weird too, but I actually watched horror movies not just for myself, but here's a little personal info about me. I actually watched horror movies for my parents. You're probably saying that's kind of weird. That sounds kind of funny. Who would do that? You know, why is that even? The reason why is because my parents are, you know, they're religious too. They're religious, and they kind of see certain things as not pretty Satanism. They don't like to see things like that. They don't want to see sex scenes because it has they consider it very pornographic. But yet they would go ahead, and they knew, since I love that stuff.
Chris lives for the pornographic scenes, man. That's what he lives for and shit.
That's why I got all hyped up about it. I mean, boobs, and I mean, shit. You know, at that age, I was all excited. So I would watch some of the stuff, and they would ask me, oh, you watched that the other day? Yeah, it was a good movie. It was really great. Could your mother and I watch it? Is it something watchable? There's one sex scene in there, so I don't think so.
That's the way I was raised. Like, and it wasn't just my parents. It was like, even my mom's younger sister was like, you know, you shouldn't be watching sex. Like, she would stand in front of TV during like fucking sex scenes in movies and shit.
Right. Well, I had to watch this to make sure it's appropriate for my parents, but yet my parents.
That's funny. Now I get what you're saying.
You understand what I had to? My parents didn't want to. They don't want to have anything to do with anything that's sexual or Satanism. So, but yet, since I like the horror movies because I was watching them on TV, they were letting me rent them, and so like my old man or my mom would say like, oh, we heard a lot about I don't know, Mimic, you know, the bug one. Did you already watch that? No, I haven't. Actually, I do want to watch that. Oh, okay. Well, if it comes out, if we can rent that, go ahead and watch it and let us know what you think and see if it's all right. Yeah, no problem. So I'll go ahead and watch it. I'm having a late night movie watching it. Yeah, actually, it's pretty good. It's chasing after this lady. It's a bug. Is there a lot of guts and a lot of gore? Not really. I mean, it's a lot of scare stuff. It pops out every now and then. But, you know, I kid you not, my mom has nightmares from... She doesn't like any of the Nightmare on Elm Street. But I watched that newest one. What is it? Wes Craven's A New Nightmare?
Yeah.
So I thought it was like, hey, it's not that bad. I told my parents, I was like, hey, you know, this movie's not that bad, you know.
He's like, I think you kids can watch this.
Yeah, in so many words. Yeah, but yeah, I was like, yeah, it's appropriate. There's not really much to it. So I mean, there's a little bit of blood here and there, but it's good. You all can watch it. It's a good, clean horror movie. Oh, okay. So they watch it, and then my mom's like, man, I had a nightmare that he came out of my closet. I can't do that again. Try to find something less scary for us to watch. I'm like, Mom, that's. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I thought that was pretty decent. You had nightmares off that? Yes, I had nightmares. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Jesus. I'll look for something a little more lighter. So, but yeah, that I usually do that. I I mean, they have their own little Netflix thing that they put on those little parental advisory stuff for them. But before, I was actually watching horror movies, and I would go ahead and present it to them, saying, "Hey, this is a good movie. There's a lot of cussing in here, but the blood is not that bad, and there's no nudity or anything like that. So it's actually pretty decent." "Oh, okay, all right. That sounds good. Oh, okay. So we can watch this, right?" And my old man, he doesn't like TV. The only time he watches TV is just to watch the damn Discovery Channel or watch the news. I kid you not. If the news isn't on, he don't give a shit. He's just like, I kid you not. He's one of those outdoor people. He, like, you can just go ahead and leave him like a couch or something outside, and he'll sleep on that outside. He don't even care what the damn weather is. He's out there all the damn time. So he loves the outdoor stuff. So for him to be inside and like, fine. I think my mom said he took her out once and to go see the movies, and that was the last movie they ever saw together was E.T. And it was like, are you serious? That was the last movie? That was like so long ago, and it was so not scary. But no, that was the last. Dee Wallace was in that one. I love Dee Wallace, and I kid you not, she that was the last movie my old man ever went to to the theaters. Other than that, he don't like watching movies though. He just like, if I have a movie to suggest or because my mom wants to watch something, all right, we'll go ahead and watch it. So there's no nudity and no Satanism, and I was like, no, it's just a jump and scare. There's a killer on the loose, and there's not that much blood, so it's just a lot of jump scares. All right, we'll go ahead and watch it, I guess. And I'm like, okay, well, just letting you know, Mom wanted to watch this, so she wanted me to make sure it was good, so it's all right. I mean, I would say this is a PG-13 movie, but whatever. So, anyways, that's a tidbit into.
Chris, so what's your overall thoughts and rating? It sounds like this one was a little bit higher for you, I guess, than for me and Gabe, so I'd rather, have you start off and see how you feel about Halloween H20, dude.
I'm going to give this one an 8.5.
Damn.
Honestly, It was a good movie, and it's like, okay, here's the test. The test is, it's been 6 months since I've seen it last, or 8 months since I've seen it last, something like that, 6 to 8 months. I watch it and I'm like, okay, this has a good scary vibe to it. It's got a good feel to it. It's got that creepy eeriness to it, which is what you want in a scary movie. It tells a story. You got Jamie Lee Curtis. They tell the story very well. It unfolds very well. I think it's good. As a franchise, I have my criticisms of the fact that Halloween dragged out this long, that they allowed this Michael Myers to keep resurrecting and keep coming back. But you know what? That aside, this individual movie in and of itself, I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
Man, I got a question for Gabe. Out of 1 to 10, how buzzed does Chris sound, dude?
Yeah.
He was like, man,
we both
that's like a solid.
2 nights ago before a drink, I said that.
For me, this one I'm kind of like back and forth on what, how I feel about this film. And like, I don't feel good giving it anything better than like a 5.5, dude. Like, it's not like just blah, and it's not good. It's just like, just a little bit better than, a piece of shit horror film, so I love the beginning. I love the ending. bad acting, bad Michael Myers mask. Just don't like it. It's just so cheesy, generic. It's typical 90s horror movies. And some are good, but it's like the cheese ones, their cheese are like really cheesy, dude. Like, stuffed crust and everything, extra cheese. So for me, just a 5.5. It's one of those to where, yeah, it's not bad, and I'll still watch it, but it's not like, oh, dude, let's go watch H2O. Like, I'm not gonna go fucking tell anybody that shit. So that's how I feel about it, Jerry and Gabe. What do you say and your overall thoughts on this bad boy, rating and all that shit?
Oh man, well, man, I kid you not. I think I talked enough about this damn movie, but H2O overall, it's like I said, it was bad, but it was fun revisiting it just because of some of the cheesiness in there, the goofiness, the overall just 90s vibes, and just looking back at finding out like some of these, older actors, they're in that movie. It's fun. Man, I want to give this such a low number because I know I will never watch this again unless someone really says like they need to watch this or go with the whole franchise like what we did now. I'm not going to do it unless for a specific reason I need to.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna. It's not a terrible movie, but it is fun to look back on. I'm gonna give it a solid 5.
There you go.
I'm solid 5, man. I'm just straight out. It's not the worst. It's not the best. It's there. It's there. If I'm bored, maybe I'll watch it. Maybe, but I mean, I'm not gonna do that. I have more options, so I'm going to probably go with the other options before I go with that.
Exactly right. That's how I feel about it too. I'm glad you kind of see Chris is over there. That dude, I give it 8.5. The best goddamn movie. I'm like, where's? I'm like, man, Chris must have been drunk that night too, dude. Something.
No, it's when if you watch it in isolation, like it has a good scary vibe, which is what I'm looking for in any kind of horror movie. But at the same time, yeah, intellectually, are there inconsistencies? Of course there are.
Well, there's no inconsistencies. It's just I just see it as a film that's, got a lot of bad acting and everything else along with it, and just not just inconsistencies. Like that's what I mean. With most movies, you'll get that or whatever. It's like not a big deal. But when I see Jamie Lee Curtis yelling at Josh Hartnett, I'm just like, okay. All right, never mind. I'm already checked out. And then
my wife thought that was hilarious. The Jamie Lee Curtis yelling at Josh Hartnett.
I wouldn't even talk about it, but it's like just to like give you an idea. You like when LL Cool J's like on the phone and behind him is Michael Myers like looking through the window, and then he turns around, Michael Myers is gone, and then Michael Myers shows back up again. It's like, what the fuck is this It's like it's so stupid. It's it's just like that's what you would see like in a cartoon. Like for me, I'm like, this is not scary at all, dude. Steve Miner, the director from Friday 2 and 3. I can't believe he came up with this shit. That's all I got to say about that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see y'all on the next one. The fuck was that?
My laptop battery died.
I guess it's just you and me, Gabe. Peace.
Yep. Sayonara.
Chris, you're fucking up our outro. You're killing it, son. You just shut up. Just die already. Just let it die.
Man, you gotta be shitting me. That mother's strong.
There you go. Peace.
Peace.
Sayonara.